was just walking up with her and I said, I'm not going to read that. And she was very happy to know that she looked at me and said, good, please don't read this. I find CV reading very, very boring, mundane actually. So I'll tell you a little about her for sure. A 36 years experience, general physician and homeopath. She started her career as a general physician homeopath, but despite being a doctor by profession, she didn't believe too much in power of medicine. So she used to prescribe medicine rarely and very little to the patient. I'm sure a lot of patients would have been actually aghast and very uncomfortable with doctor. Chha medicine na lage to majak na pade. Aisa hi masool na hai. So, and now she has stopped prescribing medicines at all. They actually do a complete healing and reversal of diseases like diabetes, osteoporosis, joint complications, hypertension, and a lot more. And that is purely by controlling lifestyle and controlling symptoms. So I think that's going to be an amazing journey today for all of us to sit through and watch this unfolding. So friends, can you join hands and welcome her?
So I have to be honest, I wasn't really keen on coming to Ahmedabad because I thought that here everyone's interested only in food and who's going to come to listen to me. Oh my God. Okay. But okay, I think it will all stop now. But I'm so grateful to so many of you who have come all the way on this hot day to hear what I have to say. And I have to make a disclaimer that, you know, I can't in 1 hour, 1.5 hours, tell you everything about taking health in your own hands. But what I can do is help bring the questions to your mind. Because once the questions come, the answers come. You'll find them anywhere. They're on the internet. They're on our website, etc., etc. And Shefali's in the back there. And when you leave, you have the option of writing your name, email address, and phone number on our data sheet. So you will be on our mailing list if you're interested. Because Shefali is very interested in conducting more such programs now and in the future in Ahmedabad. So let's see if that happens. So today we're going to talk about taking health into our hands. And just to give you a little more information about SHARAN that Rama already mentioned. Rama, thank you for such a nice introduction when I was tense about this. SHARAN stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. And the reason it stands for that is because animals in nature know how to heal themselves. But we don't. And we are not less intelligent than animals. Actually, we have been born with the same instincts. We all know how to heal ourselves. But we've lost them somewhere along the way because of a lot of information that has been given to us right from the time we are born. So, if we can start getting rid of or even questioning all this information, the answers are already within us. Living in a concrete jungle, though, the way we do in Indian cities, it's a little bit harder. So when we go through this, we're also going to try to go back to what it was like before. And you are lucky because, you know, just maybe 20, 30 years ago, Ahmedabad was quite different. And maybe you were more connected with nature than I was coming from Bombay. I don't live in Bombay anymore, though. I live in Auroville, which is much more connected to nature than Bombay. So, just to tell you a little bit more about what I do, I help people reverse diseases with food rather than medicine. Why? Because for so many years, we've been eating things that are not natural to our species. And if we were to reconnect with what is instinctive and natural to our species, we can heal ourselves. So just before I go ahead, I would like to ask you, someone from the audience who can speak loud enough, what is food to you? What is food? Yes. Okay. Okay, but right now, we'll do all that later. Okay, okay. Really, thank you so much. What is food? What would you say? What is food? Yes. Source of energy. Okay. What else? Source of nutrition. Lovely. So exactly, source of nutrition, source of energy. Energy means a kind of fuel, right? And if you had a car, and this is the most expensive car, it's a Mercedes. If you had a Mercedes, what kind of fuel would you put in that car? The best. And if it runs on petrol, you will only put petrol, and if it runs on diesel, you'll only put diesel. Do you know how much a Mercedes like this costs? Okay, 10 lakhs or whatever. That means that if this spoils, we can buy another one for 10 lakhs. But our body is not replaceable. Yet, how many of us think about the kind of fuel we put in our bodies, right? So how can we start taking care of our bodies better than our cars? Dr. Mark Hyman said, in the 21st century, our taste buds, our brain chemistry, our biochemistry, our hormones, and our kitchens have all been hijacked by the food industry. Now, from what I've been hearing since I've come to Ahmedabad, that's true for no other place more than Ahmedabad, right? Ahmedabadis love their food. Ahmedabadis eat to live. That's all. That's what I've been told, okay? So I just want to share with you a video which is a trailer of a film called Hungry for Change. As Rama said, many of you are here because you're willing to even think about change, right? If you're not willing to think about change, what's the point of coming here? So this is about Hungry for Change, and it's about people who change their entire lives just by changing what they put in their mouth. And you can actually see them before and after. And most of them are much worse off than us. There's a woman right in the beginning who at the age of 31 found herself with cancer, but transformed that without doctors just by using food to heal herself.
Dear Diary, today I feel very sad and I want to eat everything.
The problem is that we are not eating food anymore. We are eating food like products. And they are adorned. They are made to look better and smell better so that people are attracted to them.
It's not your fault. You're programmed to put on fat whenever there is food available. But now there's a lot of food available, but it's the wrong kind.
Sugar is in everything. In America, we're eating about 22 teaspoons of sugar a day.
Even the milk hasn't escaped. So, let me just show you. One kid, just for 5 years of elementary school, sugar, just from milk.
You might as well be rolling up the kid's sleeve and putting in heroin, because it's the same.
The marketing essentially lies to you because it presents you with the promise you're going to be sexy and popular and cool, but in reality, you're going to be obese and miserable and sick.
Nothing else does it in your brain quite like a Diet Cola. And that's because there's a deadly combination there of aspartame and caffeine.
I think most people believe the FDA actually has their own scientists that do this analysis, but nothing could be further from the truth.
If I was in the food industry, what am I looking to do? I want to sell you more food. They're into just selling a marketing.
You can lose weight on a diet, but it's a little bit like borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. I mean, you can get 10 pounds off your body through sheer force, but you're going to have to pay back with interest.
People know this, so why are highly intelligent people not stopping? Because they don't know the nature of the trap.
The whole dieting paradigm is flawed.
I was 31 when I realized I don't know how to take care of myself, and I am sick. So I had to go back and learn all the things that I wish I had known as a child.
I tried everything. I did witch doctors, I did mud baths, acupuncture, I did the lot. The one thing which I was really afraid to face up to was changing what I put into my mouth.
I've never heard of a raw food restaurant. Raw food, how do you cook raw food? I thought vegan was a planet.
I was over 400 pounds, and I had very bad sleep apnea. I was borderline type 2 diabetic.
Cleansing and detoxification will make you lose weight, will make your eyes white, will make your skin glow.
If somebody's got beautiful skin, it invites us to a deeper understanding about what's going on inside their body.
What we're talking about is a real diet in the sense of what a species eats. When we get onto our real diet, we don't have to think about these things anymore.
What do you think the body's going to do? It's not going to reject this at all. It's going to look and say, now I'm on board. Now you're good to me, let me shine for you.
So it's about putting into our bodies only what our bodies are designed for. Now, many of us eat fast food. And in Ahmedabad, we're lucky you had the first vegetarian McDonald's, etc., etc. But let's look a little bit at what goes on in fast food. And I'm just going to show you excerpts of this video from a TV program called Diet.com.
I know that you carry around with you a certain McDonald's hamburger.
It's 4 years old, I have fries with it, and it's aging better than me. Nothing, no preservatives, no shrink wrap. This is what a real potato looks like, sliced open, 3 months old. This is a McDonald's French fry that's 4 years old. Why are our kids eating this stuff?
Hi, everyone.
So this lady is carrying around with her to schools to show children and to show people what a 4-year-old hamburger looks like. And I'm going to show it to you.
All right.
I'm a little nervous.
This is my bag of tricks for you. Nothing, no preservatives, no shrink wrap, no vacuum wrap. This is just a McDonald's Happy Meal hamburger. This is going on 4 years old. Now I want you to look at it and look for mold. It crumbles. The bun is falling apart. That's the worst thing happening to this. Look for mold, mildew, that stuff in the corner of the shower stall. Do you see anything?
Oh my gosh, that's so weird.
It's just hard. Touch it.
Oh, okay.
It's just hard to the touch, okay? The cheese is hard. The little hamburger bun is shrunken up. But there's no mold, no mildew, no visible signs of rot, age, breakdown, or anything. Now, do you eat fast food? You're young, you're thin.
I don't. I work at Diet.com.
All right. Imagine this is what fast food is. This is what packaged food is. You can buy a package of biscuits and eat it a year later and it'll still be okay. You can buy a bag of potato chips and eat it a year later and still it's okay. Does real food last this long? And what happens to food if bacteria cannot digest it in the open air? Will our body be able to digest it? And if we aren't able to digest it, what will happen if we eat this kind of food? Is something to think about. So what is the secret to perfect health? And it's eating and living according to what our manufacturer's manual says. what nature designed for us to eat and live in the way that nature designed for us to live, which is actually within our instincts. We have it all here, but we've just forgotten it because it has been covered with intellect. So I often call my seminars unlearning, because we have to unlearn so many things that people have taught us right from the time we were born, so that we can understand. Now, because you have lived closer to nature than people from Bombay, perhaps you remember that if you were to go to a farm or an orchard and see fruits and vegetables hanging there, what would you feel like doing? Picking and eating, right? But if you were to see a chicken walk by or a goat, does your mouth water? Does even a non-vegetarian's mouth water? This is instinct. We all know what we're supposed to eat, but we have been conditioned to eat all kinds of things. And manufacturers know this, so when they make shampoos and soaps, they always smell of fruits and flowers and never of chicken or beef, right? Because they are appealing to our instincts. And if we look at the teeth of a carnivore and the teeth of a herbivore and the teeth of omnivores, and then look at our own teeth, it becomes very clear that we aren't the omnivores that we have been taught that we were. Our teeth are designed to eat something which is totally different from an animal who eats another animal. And all herbivores drink by sipping, carnivores drink by lapping, we drink by sipping, and if you look at the whole digestive system, there are so many differences, but we have learned to eat foods that other animals eat. Now let me just come back to our instincts for a moment. If you were to take a dog through the farm or the orchard, and the dog saw the fruits or the mangoes, what does it feel like doing? Nothing. But if it sees the chicken, it will chase, right? That means we have started eating dog food. Now, if you were to look at the fields, have you seen those lush green fields of wheat and rice? If you see these lush green fields, what do you feel like doing? Can anyone share? You like to run around in that, maybe sing songs or take photographs. Does our mouth water in those green fields? No, because we're not cows. But we have learned to eat cow food too. Now, if we eat food that doesn't belong to our species, won't we get sick? Goats or cows, they are lion food, right? But we put everything in our body. Now, the digestive system of a carnivore is just 3 times the length of its spine, for reasons. The digestive system of a herbivore is 12 to 16 times the length of its spine. And there's a reason. If those animal products which are decaying go through this whole long digestive tract, we are going to absorb toxins all the way. And this will make us sick. And we have a multicolored vision because the very best food for us covers all the colors of the rainbow. We say we should eat a rainbow every day. And manufacturers try to tempt us like this. Now, cows and dogs don't even have a multicolored vision. They don't even see all these colors. But we do for a reason. So our body has been designed in a certain way just so that we can choose the right things that are good for our species. And we live in groups, and that's because all herbivores try to protect themselves from predators, and so do we. Cities or societies, these are all groups. And we have a strong desire for sweets. I'm sure you all love sweets. And that's because the very best food for us is sweet, and that's fruit. But how many of us eat fruit every day? Right? Instead, we put sugar in everything to make it more attractive. And you saw that trailer where he said sugar's in everything, and he had a wheelbarrow full of sugar, which was the amount a 5-year-old boy would have had just through milk. Wow. Yet, everyone knows that sugar is bad. Right? Is there anyone here who doesn't know that? Everybody knows. Yet, when we're young, when our parents for the first time give us milk, every child says no. Instinctually, poo. Every baby knows it's not a calf and it doesn't need cow's milk. So what does the mother do? Add sugar and push it down the throat. Right? And then we like sweetness and everything. Ketchup is half sugar. 1 can of Coke contains 10 spoons of sugar. And they put sugar in pizzas and burgers and everything so that we'll be more tempted to have it. So milk now has become a staple. And many of us Gujaratis, we don't eat meat. But then there's milk in order to get proteins or calcium or whatever we think it's for. And vegetarians and non-vegetarians get exactly the same diseases. And that's because the composition of meat and milk is exactly the same. High protein, high fat, and no fiber. So when a vegetarian goes out to eat, what do they usually order? Paneer. And when a non-vegetarian goes out to eat, what do they order? Chicken. Now chicken and paneer are exactly the same in our bodies. And so we all get the same diseases. Now every kindergarten kid will know that milk is the food that every mammal makes for its young. And cow is no exception. But the reason we think milk is so good for us is because otherwise why would our mothers have chased us when we were running away from it as kids, right? So we grow up with the concept that milk must be good. And it's really hard to take this concept out of our minds. Yet, if we continue to eat fuel, if we continue to put fuel in our bodies, which is not meant for us, we are going to keep getting sick. And even a calf doesn't drink its mother's milk when it grows up, but we do. Now, I understand that milk may be necessary for vegetarians because of proteins. But how many of you know somebody with protein deficiency? Can I see hands up? Someone with protein deficiency, you know someone with protein deficiency? If not, then why are we chasing proteins all the time? Today I'm seeing people with diseases of protein excess, osteoporosis, acidity, kidney failure, gout, cancer. Protein is the food for growth and repair. Cancer is a growth. Can these diseases be reversed? Absolutely. And our body is so much better than a Mercedes because the minute we change the fuel and start putting fuel, the right fuel in our body just begins to heal. But we spend our whole lives running after food that's unhealthy for us. And the irony is that it took so long for our mothers to train us to start loving these foods. When I say milk, I mean milk, cheese, butter, cream, paneer, ice cream, buttermilk, curds, the whole works. And often I tell my patients that, if you want to get well, all you have to do is stop consuming milk. Milk is actually our biggest enemy. Yet, it's really hard to fathom it, and most patients will tell me, 99% of the patients will tell me, I never drink milk. I hardly drink milk. 2 spoons in my tea. But when I say that it means cheese, butter, curds, paneer, ice cream, oh, then what will I eat? We have become so accustomed to consuming this all the time. And especially here, because you're in the land of Amul, so we have been having this all the time. And now we don't know what to do without it. But we have to understand that milk is a cocktail of the following ingredients: hormones. Many people these days are suffering from breast cancer and prostate cancer, and these are the most common cancers that we see today. And these are hormone-dependent cancers. And we are getting all these extra hormones from food that we consume, which is dairy. Pus. Did you know that milk is full of pus? Why is it full of pus? Because when the udders of cows are manipulated with human hands or with milk machines, they are always injured, and then there's inflammation, and you can see the udders completely red. And in order to control this, we put antibiotics in the food of these animals, and 80% of the antibiotics produced in the world are used for animals, used for food. Only 20% is used for human beings, 80%. But when we consume milk, we consume all these antibiotics through the milk, and therefore we're facing antibiotic resistance today. And you might have seen those aluminum cans carrying milk. How come that milk doesn't spoil in this hot weather? Have you seen trucks with aluminum cans, sometimes some straw, no refrigerated vans for milk? How come the milk doesn't spoil? Because they are adding, in the past, earthworms, and today urea to the milk so that it doesn't coagulate. And when this comes to our body, we get kidney failure. Have you seen that today there are more cases of kidney failure than ever before? High creatinine levels, high blood urea levels, BUN high, etc., etc. This is because when we consume, first of all, animal protein is toxic to the kidneys. And we are consuming more than ever before. Now, if we were to just go back 50 years, you know that 50 years ago, we hardly consumed dairy the way we consume it now. Maybe a little bit in the tea, maybe a little bit buttermilk. That was it. Paneer, very special occasions. Every sweet had milk, but we had it only in Diwali. Right? But now it's everywhere. And cheese, 1 ounce of cheese is 16 ounces of milk. We are consuming such high levels of milk, more than ever before in our history, and we are reaping the consequences. Also, a concentration of pesticides. I know that in Ahmedabad, it's not easy to get organic food. But it's not that difficult, but it's getting easier. 50 years ago, everything was organic, or much more of it was organic. But now, fertilizer and fertilizer nagar and, pesticides everywhere. And pesticides, farmers usually keep food for themselves away from pesticides because they've seen that when they spray the pesticides, the birds just drop dead and the squirrels just drop dead. And so they don't want to put it in their own bodies. But in our case, we easily consume food with pesticides everywhere. And if we consume milk, we're consuming 12 times the pesticide we would consume in fruits and vegetables, because all the food which the cow eats, which has pesticides, and which isn't even washed, not that washing removes pesticides, all of it, but which isn't even washed, all these pesticides go to the cow. And the Indian Council of Medical Research has done research on milk and found that milk contains 570 times the permissible levels of pesticide in India. In India, wow. And on top of this, we have the effects of homogenization and pasteurization. Homogenization breaks down the fat molecules so that it doesn't, the fat doesn't float and it mixes with the milk. And then when we consume this, we grow fatter because it's much more easy to absorb. Now, that all is bad enough, but today we don't have enough food to feed cows. And so we often see scenes like this. This one is taken by me in Pondicherry, but I've seen this scene all over India, right? Cows are feeding on garbage. It's so sad that, all the food which they could eat is what we throw away. The skins of the bananas and papayas and all this thing, cows could eat, but we put them in plastic bags. And cows don't find any food, so they eat our garbage with the plastic bags and the batteries and whatever else we put in the garbage. And then this all comes back to us through the milk. Because this sits in their stomach for years and years of their short lives. They don't live very long. And if you go to YouTube and see a beautiful film called The Plastic Cow, you will see that if you open the rumen of the cow, the stomach of the cow, you can take out up to 85 kilos of plastic. Now this ends up as PCBs in the milk. The breakdown of plastic is in the milk. This ends up as plastic in our bodies. And when we consume this, and when we consume pesticides and chemicals and all this, these are hormone disruptors. Have you seen that we see more cases than ever before of hypothyroid, of polycystic ovarian? When I became a doctor, these were absolutely rare. Diabetes used to be a disease of people over 60. Today, 25 and diabetic is not uncommon. And so many people get it even younger, juvenile diabetes. And all this, or let me say, all type 2 diabetes can be reversed, and much of type 1 diabetes can be reversed or improved, and yet we take medicines for it. What baffles me is that everybody knows that if you go to a doctor for diabetes, they will give you the same advice. Reduce the sugar or stop the sugar, cut down the carbohydrates or rice, take medicines. Does anyone get well from this? Isn't it surprising that we all go to the doctor and do the same things that other people do, even though we know that nobody got well from it up to now? It's just because we're herd animals. We love to do what others do. And that's part of the reason it's so difficult to change our eating habits too, just because the rest of the society is doing something else. Yet, if we were to make simple changes, the rest of the society would follow us too. If someone reverses diabetes, everybody would want to reverse diabetes, wouldn't they? And we were talking about all the things which were in milk, yet if you go to YouTube and just put adulteration of milk in India into the search engine, you will find every TV channel talks about adulteration of milk. How is it adulterated? With detergents and urea and all these things, and yet, and we all know that 65% of the milk in India is adulterated, and yet every time we consume milk, we believe that we are taking that other 35, right? So our natural instincts are fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. If you saw these, you would feel like eating them. If you see a cow, does your mouth water? Do you feel like sucking at the udder of the cow? No, just when it's packaged and put in a way that you have grown up to see it, you feel like eating it. Now, if we were to change our diet, what kind of results could we expect? You know, I'm going to show you the video of a woman who's 70 years old. And she had heart disease when she came to me. She was the one who inspired me to give the seminars and do the work that I do, because when she came to me, she had been having heart disease for 3 years. And she was, for the last 3 weeks, in ICU and came out with a prescription 1 page long. She didn't want to take all these medicines, but she didn't know a better way. She couldn't even get up from bed in the morning for the last 3 years. She was that bad. And when she saw me, I told her that, please, I'm going to teach you everything about diet. You follow it, because I was going to be traveling, and I will see you when I'm back. And if you're still on medication, I will give you homeopathy, because I was treating with homeopathy at that time. But she, with the help of her cardiologist and just food, just changing what she put in her mouth, she totally reversed this. Within 2.5 months, she was just on 1/4 of one medicine, with the help of a cardiologist. 1/4 of one medicine. And I asked her, why are you still taking this? What's wrong with you? Because everything was good. And she said, if I stop this, my cardiologist will leave me. I want to, and that's the truth, and that's fair enough, you know. 1/4 of a pill, who cares? From 1 page to 1/4 of a pill, right? I want to show you the video. It's not a great video because I took it in the clinic, but you can hear what she says. So this is 2.5 months after she changed her diet.
My weight has gone down because of this diet. And I walk every morning for 50 minutes and I exercise for 45 minutes. And I feel good. I feel very good. I have a very active program in school. I do everything. I
just want to share with you that she was a kindergarten teacher. And you know how hard it is. One child is a job. If you have 25 of them in school, little ones running all over, and you're 70 and you can't even get out of bed, can you imagine what a job it is? So she had that job. In 2.5 months, she was going for a walk at 4 in the morning. She was going to the gym in the evening. She told you that she had lost weight, right? And she feels much better, and she's doing everything, taking care of all the kindergarten kids now.
Really a mess when I came to you. I was very tired, remember? I think the most important probably is that I stopped the tea and the coffee. I think that was giving me very false signals. I think because I'm a...
Now, most of us are really scared about stopping tea and coffee. And that's because we're really addicted to tea and coffee. Everybody knows that it's not a health food. Nobody runs after their kids to feed them tea and coffee, right? Yet, now it's really scary. But if we make the changes, it only takes 4 or 5 days to get over this hump, and we can start experiencing this. This woman literally had 1 foot in the grave. And I found that when people have 1 foot in the grave, they are willing to do everything. As long as they're running around and walking like you and me, they say, well, આ બધું છોડવા કરતા તો દવા લેવું સારું, you know?
Tremendous tea and coffee lover. Not tea so much as coffee. And I think that is a very important change in my life. I think I never used to eat and I never felt hungry. Now I have a much more normal life, really. And now I feel I'm really out of it and my medication is very little.
Now, she never used to eat and she never felt hungry. Stopping the tea and coffee, she's eating better than ever before and she's lost weight. What is important is that in nature, we never find an overweight animal. You don't see overweight giraffes and you don't see overweight elephants. It's only we, because we're putting the wrong fuel in our body.
So I don't think I'll have a problem. So it's like now I feel more relaxed about what I have to do. I think before I was more pressured about, especially when I used to get into the, like the last 3 or 4 years when I was very tired and I had to go to school and I had to do. It was a terrible strain on me. I mean, you can't believe what a strain it was. I couldn't even get out of the bed in the mornings.
So this woman, she healed herself. And I ran after her in 2013. And this is her photo of her running on the marina of Pondicherry. That's how good she became. And she's still like that. That means 10 years later, better than ever. Now, I want to show you another video, and this is of a woman who attended our 21-day program. Let me tell you a little bit about the 21-day program. I conduct a 21-day residential program, which is like a holiday. It's in the most beautiful resort, and we have all kinds of things, yoga and meditation, and we have a full-length swimming pool, there's a beach, there's hills. It's 26 acres, just beautiful, south of Goa. And every year we conduct this program. We have up to 30 people, and we take all their lab reports just in the beginning. Someone with diabetes and hypertension and so many other diseases. And then we take their lab reports at the end. And during the program, we have buffets of delicious food, lots of fruit, lots of delicious salads. I'll show you some photographs of some of the things we do, but also all kinds of cooked food, food which we're all used to, only made in a way that's healthy. For example, we are the only species that systematically makes our food less nutritious before eating. If we see sugarcane, we extract sugar. If we see sesame or peanuts, we extract oil. Now, neither sugar or oil are good for us. So all our food is made without any oil, is made without any sugar, without any white flour or white rice. We use whole rice, etc. Just little changes to get amazingly delicious food. And by the end of the program, everyone gets well. So this is a woman who was 68 years old, and she came to the program and didn't believe it at all. Her family had pushed her. She had diabetes and hypertension and cholesterol and one more thing she will say, and overweight and thyroid and overweight, and everything changed just in 21 days. What I want to show you is how fast our body is willing to heal if we just put the right fuel in it.
I'm Sheila from Assam. After nearly 28 years, this is the first time I'm going just with one medicine. I was on a very heavy dose of medication for diabetes. I was also on injections till 3 months back, and then I also had acidity, so I was taking medicine for acidity. Then along with that, I also had thyroid problems. I was on medicine for blood pressure and cholesterol. I have come to attend the program at Swaswara, 21-day reversal program at Swaswara. And of course, I was goaded into coming here by my family and friends who knew about SHARAN. But for myself, I had a lot of doubt and a lot of curiosity. I said, 30 years medicine has not done the work. How can just a vegan diet do this work for me? But I'm amazed at the results. So immediately after I came, I was off my cholesterol medicine and my medicine for acidity. Then a week later, in the second week, I was off my blood pressure medicines. Then in the third week, even my medicine for diabetes has been reduced to half. And I was so mindful of what I was eating. I knew exactly what put my sugar levels up, because I was watching every night what I was eating. It was, we learned so many beautiful dishes. I learned that vegan could be as good as anything else, or even better maybe. It was so exciting. And why should people go on medicines and injections like this if it can be done just by following a vegan diet? What was very comfortable for me was that, there were about 20 of us, all going through some healing process in the body, maybe reduction of weight, maybe heart disease, maybe diabetes, maybe thyroid or liver function not functioning well. And we were all coping with it together and each one giving support to each other. I think that was a lovely feeling. And it was great. And everyone has turned out, everyone has had such positive results. So it's amazing.
What is important is that we need the support. We need to have a group of people who are doing it together, because otherwise we get tempted by all the things that the others are doing. We need to have the will, but our body is just waiting to heal. And we can heal ourselves from so many things that we are taking medicines for all our lives. Actually, in the 21-day program, the medicines are just peeled off. We're checking all the time and they're peeled off as people get better. They are never stopped. They're just peeled off and they get better over 21 days. Are you following the videos? Is it okay? Okay, because I just want to make sure that you can understand what they're saying when they're on the video. I want to show you a very short video of a doctor who developed breast cancer. Dr. Lorraine Day. And when she developed breast cancer, it was tiny. It was the size of a marble. But she decided not to take any medicine, no chemotherapy, no radiation, and continue with just learning how to change her diet, so that, because she said, I want to get to the cause. Whenever we want to get rid of a problem, we should understand what is the cause and remove it. So she said, I want to get rid of the cause, And the cause of breast cancer is not that I have too many breasts, so I will not have breast removal. Over the period when she was learning, her breast cancer grew from the size of a marble to the size of a grapefruit. And there were times when she couldn't even get out of bed. And yet, she continued to work on herself, completely healed herself of cancer, and now teaches and inspires thousands of people to heal. The reason I'm showing it to you is because I want to show you that even cancer can be reversed.
Dr. Lorraine Day did something most people haven't had the courage to do. When diagnosed with cancer, she decided to heal herself without the aid of the medical community. What makes this story particularly interesting is that she herself is a highly respected orthopedic surgeon.
Well, that's right. I developed cancer in 1992. Now I know you cannot cut cancer out and get rid of it that way, because all the factors that allowed the cancer to develop are still present in your body unless you change the way you're eating and living and everything about your life. Disease is a spiritual problem. It starts in your heart because you want to eat and live the way you want to eat and live rather than the way God has designed us to eat and live. I had to learn that, and I started studying the Bible. I was not healed miraculously. I was healed the way anybody else can be healed. It was a long, hard struggle and a very regimented plan. And it took 18 months for me to get well. For 2 years, I was getting worse and worse and worse, and people say, well, how did you follow your progress? Well, I followed my progress by getting worse and worse and worse. But I still would not go to the conventional doctors because I had seen too many thousands of patients die from the treatment we give them. Chemotherapy is poison. It causes cancer. Every doctor knows that. Radiation, doctors will tell you don't get too many x-rays. X-rays cause cancer.
Yet, we are going to doctors and getting all these things every day. I'm going to skip this. But we can change this story. We can eat delicious food, and when we eat the food which is natural for our species, it only takes a short time before we start loving it. Because it's instinctual, because it's natural. Every cow loves grass better than meat. Every lion loves animals better than grass. It's because it's instinctual. Now you can do anything and feed it in another way, but they will always go back to loving the food the way they're supposed to eat it. And so can we. I was at the airport and I took some photographs. And I'm sure these are familiar to you. In fact, when I saw all this, it felt to me a little bit like this. Because there's really nothing instinctual to eat here. And yet today we're surrounded by this. All the supermarkets and everything. And we're getting more sick than ever before. Now what should food look like? Here are some, excuse me. Here are some photographs of food in our 21-day program. Should be rainbows. And it's all simple to make, very delicious. If you see something like this, don't you feel like eating it? So how to be healthy is to go back to putting in our body the best fuel for us by looking after ourselves better than our cars. Unfortunately, we look after our cars better than our bodies right now, right? So that's, okay, I also want to share a little bit more. You know, our food choices have a much wider impact on the world. Today we have a shortage of water and land and even fresh air. But when we eat animals, we are actually growing them in
The
very
unbridled
confined
quest for economic
areas.
efficiency has led
And this causes a lot
to
of
filthy,
production of
overcrowded,
ammonia.
industrialized farms that threaten our health, pollute our environment, and subject billions of animals to intolerable cruelty. Each is a sentient being, endowed with awareness and feeling. To agribusiness, they are mere commodities, raw materials on an assembly line. Their suffering is immense, unrelenting, and largely hidden.
Now, this is because, there are two kinds of chicken. I know in Ahmedabad, most people are not non-veg, right? Do you eat non-veg here?
Very few.
Very few, okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but what we do is consume a lot of dairy. So let's talk a little bit about cows. In order that we can consume milk, a cow is artificially inseminated when she's just 2 years old, so that she'll have a baby so that her milk flow will start. As soon as the baby is born, if it's a male, it's taken away from the mother. And sometimes even the colostrum is sold as a delicacy. Some of you may have even had it. Which means that the baby hasn't been to its mother even once. Now, like every mammal, the cow is very much bonded with its baby. And if you live in the village, you know that the cow cries for days when her baby is taken away from her. But this is done every single time. If she has a female calf, it's taken to the mother, allowed to drink a little, and then torn away so that all the milk can be sold. So that she will just grow up, fed other things soon, and within 2 months of delivery, the cow is artificially inseminated again, so that she's pregnant and lactating at the same time. This increases the hormones in the milk, causing breast cancer, prostate cancer, and all these cancers. And it shortens the cow's life. Because if the cow is pregnant and lactating, she can go to 2, 3, very maximum 4 such cycles before she has to be slaughtered or put aside. Cows cannot have unlimited babies and unlimited milk without stopping. And we are causing this cycle. For example, now, beef has been banned in certain states. But if milk consumption continues, then cows have to be made pregnant, calves have to come into, okay, calves can go to make calf leather and whatever else hasn't been banned, but how are we going to take care of all those cows? Today, India has the largest population of cows in the world. India is the largest producer of dairy in the world. Where are all those cows going to go if we don't have place for our people? If we don't have food for our people? Okay, they'll eat plastic bags and drop dead soon enough. But till then, what are we going to do with them? Chicken. Our chicken consumption has increased 300%. And in order to eat chicken, we are making them grow to full size in half the time. The reason they said chicken 65 was the chicken was 65 days old. Today, all those broiler chickens in those cages are 42 days, 6 weeks old. A chicken grows to full size in 12 weeks, but now they're made to grow to full size in 6 weeks. And if you compare those broiler chickens in those cages to a village chicken, the broiler chickens are round because they're so breast heavy at the age of 6 weeks. If you were to rescue them, they will die of a heart attack. If we eat animals that would die of a heart attack, what will happen to us? Right? Today we are making chickens. There are two kinds of chickens, broiler chickens and egg-laying chickens. The egg-laying chickens are actually separated, males from females, as soon as they're born, so that the males can be crushed up and fed back to their sisters because they're never going to lay eggs. But the females have to lay 250 eggs a year. A normal hen lays 25-30 eggs a year. So they are made to lay 10 times more eggs. What will happen if we eat eggs? Now today I was told that in Ahmedabad they even have Jain chicken and Jain eggs. I don't know what all that is about, but I guess you do, right? So these chickens are also kept in totally unnatural environment, and they are, separated right from birth as soon as they're born, and the males are crushed up, as I told you, but the females are going to be kept in close proximity so that they have nothing to do except lay eggs. They're egg laying machines, just like cows are milk making machines. And because they are going to be frustrated, not being able to move, they're even given cages with just wire at the bottom. Their whole life, they cannot even rest their feet. And these egg-laying machines, because they'll be frustrated and fight or peck at each other, their beaks are cut off and their toes are cut off just at birth, so that they can be made to lay 250 eggs. If they have to lay 250 eggs, 10 times more, what are we doing to them to make them lay, and what will happen if we eat these eggs? So, from a young age, we are desensitized. We're taken to zoos and circuses because we love animals. We love to watch animals. So we're taken to zoos and circuses where animals are made to do unnatural things to entertain us. Don't do this, you see? But we are totally connected. And I just want to show you a video. I want you to see the subtitles of this video. It's a beautiful video. Now, we often don't know what this feels like because we haven't been connected to animals, but anyone who has a dog or a cat knows how closely connected animals can be to each other and to us. And all animals are the same. Yet some are given names and some are given numbers, right? And while we eat all this, actually connection and compassion, these are our intrinsic nature, but we are getting disconnected. That's how we are able to eat them. And this is causing a huge ecological damage. Because in order to raise all these cows and chicken, you know that today we are 7 billion on this planet. Yet 70 billion land animals are slaughtered every year for food. This does not include the sea animals. So we are raising so many animals which take land, water, they need energy, a lot of energy. It sounds like what do they need, but in order to raise all these animals, we're using a lot of energy, and we have lack of water, lack of land, lack of energy, and lack of fresh air. Because of all this, the UN and FAO have written a 400-page report talking about livestock's long shadow, that livestock raised for food produces more greenhouse gases than all the vehicles on the planet combined. All combined. That's a lot. And that's because there's 70 billion. They also reduce biodiversity. Because the more we raise animals for food, the more we have to kill lions and take over the forests and make them into grazing grounds, and birds, etc., etc. And so we are destroying ecology, biodiversity, and we are also creating starvation. Because it takes 12 to 16 kilos of grain to produce 1 kilo of beef or 1 kilo of meat. Yet we are creatures of habit, and we have a lot of conditionings. And where do our conditionings come from? I just want to show you an ad, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. So it's just to see it from a new light.
पियो ग्लास फुल दूध 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 है वंडरफुल पी सकते हैं रोज ग्लास फुल दूध 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 गर्मी में डालो दूध में आइस दूध बन गया वेरी नाइस पियो डेली वंस और ट्वाइस मिल जाएगा टेस्टी सरप्राइज दूध 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 ड्रिंक वंडरफुल दूध पियो ग्लास फुल दूध है मस्त इन एवरी सीजन पियो दूध फॉर हेल्दी रीजन रहोगे फिट एंड फाइन जियोगे बात 99 चारों ओर मच गया शोर गिव मी मोर वंडरफुल दूध
I just want you to notice a few things about this ad. Wasn't it a long one? Everyone knows that advertising costs a lot. On top of it, there was no brand name on this, which means who's making these ads? Now, if we just think about it, and this ad is a beautiful ad, right? If you see it 2 times, the music will go on in your mind, and it makes milk look even better than Pepsi, right? Now, a lot of money is spent to brainwash us. And actually, the more money that's spent, the less we need that. I often tell people that if you want to know what to eat and what not to eat, make a list of everything that's advertised on TV, magazines, newspapers, and don't eat that. Because who is going to spend money advertising something that we all know we need. How many advertisements did you see for carrots and cucumbers and apples and oranges, right? But everywhere in the world, when they advertise something we don't need, there's no brand name, a lot of money is spent, etc. I just want to share with you that eating no animal products is considered vegan, and the latest vegan celebrity is Amir Khan. He saw a video by Dr. Michael Greger talking about how diseases can be reversed through a plant-based diet. He changed to plant-based diet. If he can do it, so can you. So that's basically the end of my talk, but I'm happy to answer any questions if I have time.
1 minute, because we would like to thank our wonderful speaker. And I also like to quickly tell you how this initiative thing, you can see that board there, say Dilip Shah AMA Initiative of Health and Wellness. I can't think of anyone better than Dilip Bhai himself coming here and gifting you a token of appreciation thing. Dilip Bhai, our past president, please. And come and gift a token of appreciation to us.
And I just want to thank you so much for all you're doing.
Dilip Bhai is our past president of AMA, and Uday, if you can just please wave to our crowd thing. He gifted this center of Initiative of Health and Wellness on Dilip Bhai's 75th birthday, if I'm not mistaken. 75th birthday to him and to us there. I think it couldn't have been a better gift from a son to a father. Once again, today. So thank you, friends. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, ma'am. It was amazing to listen to you, and as some people said, it's probably a little difficult to digest, more because change is a very, very difficult thing to digest any which way, of any kind of change. So I think if we start a little bit also, I think it starts working with us. So thank you so much. Wish you a very healthy weekend, and thank you so much, ma'am, coming here. AMA is proud to have you here, and we are honored. Thanks.